Good morning, fourth graders. We are going to be starting this magazine this week. It's called Print My Pattern. As always, there's a nonfiction, a fiction, and a play in it. And today we're going to be reading the nonfiction article on pages 2 through 9. You'll see it starts off with the title in a yellow oval. It's called Zebra, Leopard, and Giraffe Patterns. And it's kind of cool. It's in bubble letters, and the patterns of each animal are actually in the bubble letters. So it starts off with your introduction, but then I want you to make sure when you're reading that you're reading the headings, because that's going to clue you in as to what you're reading about. You'll see the heading zebras. It's going to start you reading off on zebras. And then there's some subheadings that break down to the 3 different main types of zebras. Next, you'll see leopards, and then you'll have the 4 different types of leopards. And the last 2 pages, actually, you have the heading giraffes, and then it's broken down into the 9 different types of giraffes it's talking about. So that actually goes on for a couple of pages. So one thing I want you to keep in mind, because there are some difficult words. Try to remember to split the compound words, because if you see a larger word, maybe it's a compound word, and that would help you out. So for example, my tips are to keep the digraphs and blends together. If you see some digraphs and blends, usually they stay together. And keep your vowel teams together. Okay, so we know OU is a vowel team that says ow, and EA is a vowel team that says E, so we're going to want to keep those together. Okay, so we're not, and I see, oh, here's a digraph, TH, so keep that together too. So we would chunk it there if we're keeping that together, and you would read one chunk of the word at a time. South, south. And then we have east, southeast. Okay, the same applies here. We see a digraph, keep that together. Here's a blend, GR, grr. So we'll chunk it between those 2. Okay, so you probably recognize that without tapping it out. That's back, ground. So ground, background. Okay, and then again, our vowel team stays together, so I'm just going to count that as 1 vowel. Here's a vowel here, 2 consonants in the middle, so we can chunk it between the 2. And OU-T, you know, says outline, outline. And then if we look at this word, I spot my vowel here. Where do I break it up? Well, ST is a blend, so I'm going to want to keep that together. So I'm going to break it between these 2, the blend and the consonant. So nut, chestnut. Okay, so southeast, background, outline, and chestnut. Okay, so keeping in mind that we split compound words up is the easiest way to read those. Okay, the other tip is to read the base word and then the suffix. Okay, so you don't forget to read that ending. And of course, it's really important to chunk out the base word. Okay, so if you're doing that, you'll say, oh, I know ED, I don't need to worry about that yet. Cool, and then you know OU says ow, cloud, id, clouded. Okay, you recognize the suffix here, patch, so patch is. I recognize this Y as a suffix, and I know that says E, so BL is my blend, ch, blotchy. Okay, so you'll be reading about a clouded leopard, and then you'll be reading about the animals with patches, some are blotchy. And then this one, I see an ED on both of them. So I'm just going to try to read the base word. So jag, jagged. And then we talked about DGE the last week, says j. So that's edged, jagged, edged. So those are just some of the trickier words that you might find while you're reading. And the other thing, okay, so lastly, when you're reading about all these different types of giraffes, you know, just do your best for the names. It's okay if you get them wrong. Sometimes I don't even know how to say them right. And we just look for chunks, you know. That's the biggest tip I can give you. So for this one, I see an AR. So if I was going to read this type of giraffe, I say, well, AR says R. So that chunk is bar. And ING I know says ing, baringo. So my guess would be that's a baringo giraffe. This is another type of giraffe, and I see right away, oh, I know this word. This says child. So then I'm just going to put the beginning chunk with it. Rothschild. Okay, and lastly, actually, two more. Reticulated. This one's a little trickier, but I see the word late there. So, and usually re is a prefix, so reticulated. The reticulated giraffe. And even though I've never heard of this one, I thought I would try it. TH says th. I know OR goes together, and that says or. So thorn is my first word. And then we have cur. I see another blend here. Croft. Thornycroft. So there are many different types of giraffes, but I just thought I'd show you that you know, you can try to chunk each of those out. So while you're reading today, if you wanted to think about why the animal markings are useful, that would be something, and you know, see if you could gather more information why the animals have all these unique markings. They compare them to our fingerprints, which is kind of cool. So you know how our fingerprints, no two people have the same fingerprints. That's what they're comparing them to. And also, as you read each section, check to see if you can locate the details that are discussed in the photographs. So when the author is writing about all these details in the words, see if you can notice them in the photographs, because that'll help you as well. All right, happy reading. Happy Monday.